Namaste, Dilip ji. Such a privilege and pleasure to be sitting across the desk from you even. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Aparna. It's an honor and privilege to be with you and to be at the Indian Embassy and to present your audience a series on meditation. The first one, we'll say, will be yoga as meditation. And just to clarify, it's not yoga and meditation, which is, wrongfully described in our West and Western practice, because meditation is yoga. It's a seventh limb. As you told me or explained to me before, is that all of your participants and audience already understood that the 8 limbs of yoga. And we'll do a practice. We'll do a practice based on the 8 limbs of yoga today. And on the practice, we'll show you a little guidance in how to go from the stages up to the 7th stage of meditation. And we all know that the word yoga is a union of your body, mind, and spirit. It's a philosophy. It's a philosophy of practice. It's the 8 limbs of yoga. Philosophy called Patanjali Yoga Sutra Patanjali. Very interesting is 196 sutras, of which 193 is to control your mind. So the ultimate outcome is a manasthir. That manasthir is the one we're talking about, the meditation. In a meditation, in a practice of yoga, is that when you come to the 7th limb, you are in a state when you stay calm in the middle of a crisis. It's not that I'm meditating for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's not in 1 hour of daily practice we do. What we do in the next 23 hours. That is more important. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more and more about the physiology behind it, and a little bit more about, obviously, a therapeutic benefit, because I am a Western trained physician with a very yoga therapy background. So if you look at the stages, the yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dharan, dhyan, samadhi. Even starting from the yam and niyam, if you see that each item that we practice is basically a chitta vritti nirodha. They are controlling the chattering of the mind, which is the outcome of yoga practice, and primarily is a meditation practice. So the whole outcome of a practice of yoga is the physiological effect of meditation. So what is the physiological effect of meditation? Physiological effect of meditation is, in a state of meditation, our limbic system of the brain works. And limbic system of the brain is called the emotional brain. It is beyond your motor and sensory cortex. There are 2 nuclei called amygdala and a hippocampus, which gets activated with a meditation practice or outcome of yoga practice. The limbic system then sends a signal to hypothalamus, which is called the homeostasis, and it's done through neurotransmitters. Hypothalamus then sends a signal to our autonomic nervous system, and autonomic nervous system then creates a sense of parasympathetic activation, which is a relaxation response, which you call a calm and digest, called rest and digest, is completely opposite of sympathetic overdrive. And that's the reason you see in the West, we talk about yoga practice, meditation practice is a stress buster, that it controls your stress. How does it do? This is the mechanism. Activation of parasympathetic tone. Then the hypothalamus sends a signal to the pituitary gland, our master endocrine gland. Then we have an axis called pituitary adrenal axis, through which we get a hormonal homeostasis. But most of our hormonal imbalances, like we talk about the cortisol. The cortisol is a hormone secreted from your stress. Cortisol level goes down. And the good neurotransmitters, we call it a dose, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin, that level goes high up. These are the physiological mechanisms. But the other basic mechanism which we see is called a voluntary control over involuntary function. What does it mean? What it means is that suppose you come to a fourth limb called a pranayama. Okay? In pranayama, the breathing is autonomous. It's controlled by an autonomic nervous system. I'm sleeping, I'm breathing. But that is controlled by the lower part of the brain called a brain stem. And that is your unconscious. I have no control on that. But the breathing is also conscious. I can practice a Bhastrika pranayama. I can practice a Ulom Vilom pranayama. But those practice is called the higher cortex, motor system, sensory system. That is your conscious mind. So you're converting a subconscious into a conscious. That means you are to have a control over the involuntary function. So why this is meditation? Reason is that a normal human being has a control over a voluntary nervous system. So I can touch, I can pick it up. They may have some control over involuntary nervous system. Like I'm looking at a food, my stomach starts to have a secretion. But they have no control over autonomic nervous system. My heart is beating, I'm breathing. But with the practice of yoga, primary practice of meditation, you get a control over your autonomic nervous system. Why? That parasympathetic activation, you are continuing a daily practice. And it is so addictive practice because of the secretion of your neurotransmitters. My dopamine level is up, my serotonin level is up, my gamma aminobutyric acid level is up. So those are the creating a sense in my mind to come down and control our autonomic nervous system. So for your audience, this is a term we use in meditation, is that voluntary control over involuntary function. And that is a primary way a subconscious or unconscious become a conscious. Like people always ask me, what is a consciousness? And I said, it's very simple. Human being is conscious about consciousness, but remain unconscious not to understand the consciousness. So people say, I feel meditation. And a meditation is a beautiful path. Meditation is staying calm and you are vibrantly awake inside. It is not asleep. You're still awake, but you are extremely calm from outside. So coming from, say, Yam and Niyam, if you see that, the 5 yamas, each one has a meditative component. Just being a ahimsa is a meditative component. Even the truthfulness. If you say truth, you don't have to remember the truth. But if I say lie, I have to remember that lie, and that creates my chitta vritti. And that goes against my meditative practice. In the same way, say brahmachari, austeo, aparigraho, these are all primarily meditative practice. Same way is the niyamas. Niyamas, if we look at all the 5 niyamas, you have a santosh, no? You have a socha, tapa, Shraddha, Ishvara Pranidan. So you have taught all of them to them, but these are each one, if you go in details, I've not go to details when you teach the 8 limbs, we'll go each one in details in a step by step, how the tapas does a meditative practice. And finally, when you come to the asana, a primary asana for meditative practice is a preparatory for your physical body, and that is called your Sthiram Sukham Asana. A stillness of your body, and how the stillness comes. I'm going to go a little bit details in that. Give me just a couple of more minutes so you'll understand. It's not that you sit down in a Sukhasana, Siddhasana, Padmasana, or Vajrasana. I'm sitting here. I'm sitting in my chair, but with my spine straight. And what is happening to me? When I'm sitting in a posture called asana, all my muscles are contracting. And it is taking me a posture which is called arambho. There is stages of the asana. It's called arambho. Arambho is the beginning. But if you stay contracted for some time, the muscle cannot stay contracted too long. It starts to relax. Before it relaxes, it causes a little bit of a twitching. And the twitching goes away. That is called sthiti. The sthiram. Sthiram comes during asana practice. And we'll see all the time. When you start doing a little bit more of a, say Vakrasana, you'll see your muscle starts to twitch. That comes down. And finally, it's called your Visarjan. Visarjan is a profound relaxation. It's a relaxation response in a physical body which prepares you towards your meditation practice. Then once you have a relaxation, you will notice that you slowly enter into a pranayama. And then we'll describe the pranayama in our next session. But essentially, pranayama. Prana is in the subtle energy. It keeps us awake, alert, alive. And our breath is the carrier of the prana. Breath is not the prana. You can say electricity. Prana is like electricity. And breath is like an electric cable. Is carrying the prana. And when we do the practice today, we'll do a little bit of, you'll see, called a pranic healing, what the meditation does. So in a pranayama practice, when you have a relaxation of these muscles of respiration, you can see your lung. Lung has about your 6-liter capacity. So 4.5 liter is your vital capacity, but we only breathe 0.5 liter. We'll explain a little bit more on the next session. But what we teach them to do, breathe out first. In all yogic tradition, we do the exhalation first. Because it's a balloon. If you take an inhalation, all the air is sitting in the top, they're not doing anything. That is called your dead space. So breathe out first. You take a deep breath in effortlessly. There should be no effort. And breathe out longer than breathing in. Physiologically, the exhalation is parasympathetic and inhalation is sympathetic. So extending your exhalation, you're also entering into that parasympathetic tone and we're entering into state of meditation. And when your breath becomes effortless, we have a lot of pranayama practices which we'll do in the next session. But then you enter into pratyahara. The word pratyahara, the simple meaning is that your pratya is a reject, ahara is your intake. What are the intakes? Our intake is through 5 senses. What I see, what I hear, what I smell, taste, and touch. I learn how to control my 5 senses. And the best practice for the controlling of 5 senses is the Bhramri Pranayama. In a Bhramri Pranayama, we shut down our 5 senses. Then what we do, we create a vibration. Create a vibration like a bumblebee. Our brain has a vibration. The 2 vibration cancels. Again, it's a physiological practice. It's called harmonic resonance. In a harmonic resonance, two frequency cancels. When the two frequency cancels, your mind and brain quiets down. So you're entering into that state of your meditation. That leads you to your sixth state, that is your dharana. So what happens in the pratyahara, the fifth limb, that all of your five senses unites with your mind. Now in a dharana, in a focus, and we'll talk about the focus also is the beginning of meditation. Why in dharana, your prana unites with your mind. So we'll show it to you when you do a little practice, how to guide the prana to the organ of healing, causing pranic healing. And if you stay in the focus, slowly and slowly, it becomes a defocus. And when you start defocusing or entering into a state of meditation. So what Aparna, the meditation basically is that in your mind, people think about, oh, I'm the thoughtless. I'm, in a state of nirvana. I'm going to be, entering into the next, your samadhi state. But what happens in our mind is generating all the thought process. And in a thought process, there are thousands and thousands of thought process. But what it is primarily, the most of our thought process are in the past. And many of them in the future, very little in the present. That's what we say, whole yogic practice, yogic dinacharya, which we'll talk about at the end, it brings you to the state of your, the living in present. Even in the present, the thoughts we have, our 95 to 98% thoughts are a repeat thought process. I have to talk to Aparna, I have to talk to her, talk about a little bit. It's continuously chattering by mind, chitta vritti. So in a state of meditation, you enter in between the thought process. It's called a gap. And slowly, you start increasing that gap. So what happens when you start increasing the gap, your thought process are still there, but it's not your repetition doesn't come, agitation doesn't come. We talk about like, if you come to the fifth limb, pratyahara, you can quiet down our mind even for 12 seconds. And interestingly, 12 seconds quieting down at the initial is a lot of time. 12 seconds looks like you're 12 years, In the dharana, I said it's very simple. 12 seconds times 12 times will be your 2 minutes and 24 seconds. When you come to the meditation, slowly and slowly, that becomes again multiplied by 12 times. I said 2 minutes, 24 seconds multiplied by 12. It'll come about almost like 28 minutes, some 48 seconds. So this is not that a long practice you need to do. A daily practice, what we suggest, that 25 minutes of asanas, 25 minutes pranayama, 10 minutes of meditation, 1 hour of practice daily morning. And that sadhana is basically takes you to the state of meditation. So all the outcome of yoga practice is at the level of meditation. And in that meditation, you get all the health benefits, which we'll talk about a little bit more and more on this series. And finally, entering into the samadhi, we have a lot of different samadhis you can talk about, but people like me, I don't know, I have to admit, I'll probably never get into the state of samadhi in my lifetime. But as you know, death in our lifetime is called mahasamadhi. Death is a mahasamadhi. So I'm very calm, quiet. I'm in the state of meditative practice. Staying calm in the middle of crisis. It is not able to sit down, quiet down, close your eyes and paying attention to your breath. It's 104 degrees outside. Your car broke down. Your kid is screaming. But in a meditative state, everything will be fine. pick up the phone, call AAA, they come to, I mean, that is a meditative state, especially now in this coronavirus crisis. The biggest impact we have the coronavirus is that our panic, fear, and anxiety. Any question from you, Aparna, what I said?
No, I think you answered a lot of the questions that we had spoken about beautifully. Just to kind of reiterate what I get if I place myself as an audience is yoga is meditation, because oftentimes you hear this pithy statement. But what you explained that was distinctive is that meditative component is there throughout every limb of the Ashtanga. In the yamas, whether it's satya, ahimsa, focusing on a concept, it is meditating on a concept. That's a dharmic concept. When you come into asanas and you come into pranayama, it is when you are in a various postures, it is meditating not just on it in terms of concentration, but the physiology of it is meditative. So it is almost like you are meditating on it, and that creates a meditative experience for you. It's almost like a cyclical pattern. And so I understand very clearly how you've walked through the various limbs coming up to Dharana Dhyana. You touched a little bit on this in terms of the object of concentration, whether it is a concept, whether it is an image, the various kinds of dhyana, samapati, samadhi. I wondered if you could delve a little bit more on the concept of yoga as union and how the union is different in these various angams, and whether it's asana, pranayama, dharana, dhyana. How does that progress? How does the practitioner progress with the meditative aspect in yoga?
Yeah. So when you do the practice, you'll see that the focus on your meditation, obviously, is that our mind needs a focus. So, in a union, as I said, yoga is union, even starting from the asana, when you see, I'm going from arambha, beginning, sthiti, stability, to visarjan. We come to the visarjan and my mind changes. Say, for example, today I cannot touch my toe, but with the practice, what I develop is called neuroplasticity, like a habit. I'm able to, after a few practice, I'm able to touch my toe. The moment I touch my toe, my mind changes. You know what? Let me see, let me look inside, let me see even what I'm eating, let me see what is my sleep, let me look at myself, my soul. Introspection comes in when you have even a physical transformation, the focus, the union which will come up. Same with the pranayama will come up. And let's do one. I will bring the focus on the mantra. Mantra is a mantra. Man is the mind. Tra is the quiet and controlled. So it's not the wordings. The wordings has a meaning, Om Bhurbhuva Swaha. There is a meaning there, but the way you pronounce Asatoma, Sabgamayo, or Om itself, that the frequency cancels the frequency of your brain or my body. It quiets down. That is an object of your focus. Since the five senses keeps us awake, alert. So my vision is the eye is a direct communication of our brain. Because if you look at the eye, optic nerve goes straight to the brain. Eye represents your mind. You can see. So able to focus with your eyes, closing your eyes, or even doing it like a Jyoti Tratak, looking at a flame. That's a meditative practice. Closing your eyes, focusing on, say, I'm sitting in front of ocean and looking at a blue sky. Visual imagery. So let's go ahead, since we have a little short of time, the little practice, because I have a statement which I want all of your audience to take home, is that yoga and meditation is 99% practice and 1% theory. Karo yog, raho nirog. Let's do a little bit of a practice. The practicing about the Ashtanga 8 limbs of the yoga and starts obviously from the darshan, the philosophy, Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, and then it comes your yam, niyam in asana. In asana, what you do, if you sit down in a chair, you always sit down with the spine straight. So this is the way you will sit down. You will sit down. Why? Because my skeleton is always going to fall in the front. So what is doing, all the muscles in my back is contracting to keeping me straight, upright. So there is a tremendous amount of tightness and tension in my back muscles. When I feel it, it feels like two bricks sitting here. So when I sit down this way, and always, it almost like a 90-degree sitting down. And that's the way I sit down on my desk in front of my computer. That's the way I'm going to eat when I'm sitting on my chair and table. That's the way I'm going to drive my car. 24/7 practice. Merudanda Achal. Then the Hasta Mudra is very important. Okay, how much time do you have? 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
We're good. We have about 7 to 8 minutes.
7 to 8 minutes. Okay. So hand connects with your mind because you always talk with the hand. So Hasta Mudra. So this is the mudra. I'll say subconsciously when I'm meditating, it comes into my hands like this. This is called Hagini Mudra. It causes the focus in your mind. And this is called a Shankha Mudra. You wrap your right hand around the thumb, left hand around, touch your index finger and thumb. Called a Shankha Mudra. It removes the anxiety of your mind. Meditative practice. Dhenu Mudra, touching the alternate finger. Index finger touches middle finger touches index finger, opposite. Ring finger to little finger to ring finger. This is called a Dhenu Mudra. It balances both half of your brain. So Hasta Mudra, but one mudra is called Dhanu Mudra or Gyanu Mudra, touching index finger and thumb. This is our meditative practice. We put it just in front of our knees. Then all of our 5 senses keeps us awake, alert. So close your eyes. When you close your eyes, you basically shut down a powerful 5 senses. Bring your awareness to your breathing. Breath is a connector between our body and mind because breath has a both conscious and subconscious component. So breathe out first. Take a deep breath without any effort. And breathe out longer than breathing in. Do one more time. Take a deep breath in. Breathe out longer than breathing in. Gently do a very mild Bhramri Pranayam. Many a time you can do with a little bit of a neck movement. It's called Brahma Mudra. Like with a deep breathing, slowly drop your head to the back. And you breathe out with a Bhramri sound like this. On a regular practice, we do this Brahma Mudra. There are 4 postures with this Bhramri Pranayama. Well, let's slowly enter into a meditative practice. We'll be doing the breath-centered meditation. Then we'll do one mantra meditation. Then we'll do a silent meditation. In meditation, you control your five senses, and silence controls your all five senses. Now visualize your breath. Visualize your breath coming in through your nose. Nose is a filter. Nose clears up all the air. It's also like your personal air conditioner. Outside air is warm, it's going to cool it down. If outside is cold, it's going to warm it up. Slowly it goes side of the nostril called turbinate. Then when it goes over the mucosa of your sinuses, it secretes a substance called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a powerful vasodilator, activator of parasympathetic tone. Visualize his breath coming behind your throat, upper part of the lung, middle part of the lung, lower part of the lung, almost to the level of your belly button. Hold your breath in a suspension. It's a cable kumbhaka. Slowly visualize breath is coming lower part of the lung, middle part of the lung, upper part of the lung, behind your throat, coming out through your nose. Visualize a pranic healing. Visualize breath is picking up prana. In yogic tradition, prana resides 9 fingers out of your nostril. Breath is bringing the prana through your nostril. And in yogic tradition, our lung is not just breathing only, our whole body does breathing. Our liver is breathing, kidney is breathing, our skin is breathing. So visualize the prana is going to the organ of healing. I had a previous open heart surgery, so I visualize the prana is coming to my heart, causing the healing of my heart. If you have a diabetes, visualize prana is coming through your pancreas, creating and secreting more insulin. If you have a back pain, visualize prana is coming through your back, creating a pranic healing. If you have a joint problem, knee problem, hip problem, visualize the prana is coming to the organ of healing. Slowly and slowly, you will see your breathing gets more effortless. You have a better and better exhalation. You don't even hear the sound of your breathing when you are relaxed, when you have a control of your 5 senses. Generally, in a mantra meditation, we do a lot of mantras we can do, but one powerful mantra is called a chakra awakening meditation. We do that mantras, we'll do it later in our practice, another session, like a lam, vam, ram, yam, hum, sham, om. Today, let's finish with a om mantra, and then we'll go into silence. We'll stay in a short period of silence, and I'll guide you when to finish the silence. In yogic om, there are 3 components called a, u, ma. A comes from the lower part of the lung. Ma comes from the upper part, middle part of the, u comes from the middle part of the lung. Ma comes from the upper part of the lung. Let's do 3 om pranayam followed by silence. So breathe out first. Take a deep breath in. Enter into a period of silence. Slowly bring your hand in front of your heart chakra, Anahata chakra. Touch your little finger and thumb. Separate your ring finger, middle finger, and index finger. This is your Padma Mudra. Padma Mudra connects your body, mind, and spirit. Your soul is in a heart. Bring the Padma Mudra close to your heart. Meditation gives us all the healing. It causes Rogir Chikitsha, treatment of disease, and Shastha Rokha, maintenance of health. It's a wonderful practice. It's a daily practice. Slowly and slowly bring your hands in front of your heart chakra. Slowly bow your head down. It is Namaste. I'm honoring the divinity within you. You are divine. And you can finish with another very powerful yogic relaxation. It's called pumping and cupping to relax your face and upper part of your body. Keep rubbing your hands, keep rubbing your hands, keep rubbing your hands. When you feel the warmth in your hand, if you're wearing glasses, you remove your glasses. Slowly take both the hands, put it over your eyes. Let the eyes take all the heat from your hand. Then massage your forehead, massage your eyes, massage your earlobe, your back of the ear, tragus. This is called activation of the vagus nerve. And slowly massage your neck, called carotid sinuses. It massages carotid sinus in the front and back. And slowly open up your eyes. It's a wonderful relaxation practice. Today, we have all the gadgets. I have my Apple Watch. When I do that, I can see my heart rate is down, my blood pressure is down. When even I'm doing this, my Gyana Mudra, Dhana Mudra, I can feel the capillary pulsation. I can feel the sensation going down. I can hear all the sounds in the silence in meditative state. It's a wonderful, wonderful practice. Thank you for giving me the privilege to share my practice with all of your audience.
Thank you so much, Dilipji, and I look forward to our next segment on breathing. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of the day.
Okay, thank you.